My fiancée said, "My parents don't think you're good enough. We need to take a break." I replied calmly, "I understand." Then I withdrew my share of the joint account we were using for the wedding, the same one she had already secretly canceled. Her break became permanent and expensive. I am a 32-year-old man. Up until 3 weeks ago, I was going to marry Nicole, 29, next spring. We were together for 4 years. The save the dates had already been sent. A stunning venue was booked. Her dream, basically. Her parents, Stephen and Angela Hawthorne, were always hovering. I always had the feeling they thought Nicole was settling by being with me, a project manager without the old money they had. Everything fell apart on a rainy Tuesday. Cliché. Nicole came to my house. "We need to talk." Her eyes were darting around. "My parents are worried I'm rushing into this." She started spinning her ring. "They think maybe you aren't established enough for the kind of life they imagine." Not good enough after 4 years, and after she was the one who pushed for that big wedding. "So what are you saying, Nicole?" I kept my voice steady. "I think we need a break," she said, "to reevaluate, for me to think, for you to consider what they are saying." A break, weeks before the final deposits, after I had put a significant amount, 5 figures of my savings into our joint wedding account. My $30,000 was there. Her $30,000 was there too, either from her salary or funded by her parents. I didn't care about the source at the time, but the total was there. Something sounded wrong, rehearsed. "I understand," I replied. She appeared surprised. She likely expected a scene. "If you need space, you need space," I shrugged. "For how long?" "A few weeks, maybe a month, just space." "All right." She left. The apartment felt huge. 1 hour of numbness, then came a cold, methodical anger. Her words, "not good enough," the expression of relief on her face, the suspicious timing. A nasty little voice in my head said, "Check the wedding venue." The next morning I called the coordinator, Brenda. "Mr. Davis?" She hesitated. "Actually, Nicole called Monday afternoon. She canceled the reservation." Monday, the day before the talk about the break. Canceled. I kept my voice light. "Did she reschedule for another date?" "No, sir. Total cancellation. Unforeseen circumstances. The initial $10,000 deposit was non-refundable." Of course, that deposit came out of our $60,000 joint account, so the break was theater. The wedding was already dead by her decision. I logged into online banking. Joint account. $50,000 remained. My contribution was $30,000. Hers was $30,000. Minus the $10,000 lost deposit, my half of that remaining $50,000 was $25,000. My money, intended for a wedding she had secretly buried. I transferred my $25,000 back to my account. Clean. Then I sent a message. "Nicole, I just heard from the venue that you canceled everything on Monday, before our conversation, so I guess the break is permanent. I withdrew my portion of the remaining wedding funds. It seems fair since there will be no wedding. I hope you find what you're looking for." I blocked her, her parents, and her best friend Emily. Sometimes people learn a very expensive lesson. Update 1. It's been a week since the message. The silence didn't last. Blocking nowadays is just a suggestion. Thursday morning, a voicemail from an unknown number. Nicole, angry, not sad. "Justin, what the hell do you think you're doing? You took the money from our wedding account. You can't just do that. Call me immediately." Our wedding? The one she canceled herself? Delusional. I didn't give in. Then came the emails. "Urgent financial error. You made a big mistake." She claimed I had stolen from her, that I was being petty, ruining everything, that the break wasn't a breakup. Of course, now it wasn't. Her parents were disgusted. I should return her money. Suddenly, my $25,000 became her money. She scrambled, saying the venue cancellation wasn't finalized when she realized I knew. Honey, total cancellation is pretty final. Then came Angela, her mother, to my work email, a masterpiece of passive aggressiveness. Justin, Nicole is devastated. Although we expressed some minor reservations, your actions were disproportionate and cruel. You withdrew funds intended for deposits. Nicole is now in a terrible situation. As a gentleman, you should correct this oversight immediately. Correct this oversight. I loved that, as if I had tripped and my money had accidentally fallen into my own account. The $10,000 venue deposit was already lost, $5,000 mine, $5,000 hers. My withdrawal of $25,000 from the remaining $50,000 left exactly her $25,000 there. Simple math. My only response, copying Angela and Nicole. Dear Angela, Nicole canceled the venue on Monday, October 9th, before informing me she wanted a break. The funds were intended for that wedding. With no wedding, I recovered my portion. Nicole keeps her full contribution. Any future commitments are her responsibility. Case closed. Red flag to a bull, apparently. A weekend of missed calls, frenetic emails. Nicole, the caterer needs the deposit. The photographer, I paid part of it from my personal account, thinking the joint money was still there. You owe me. Her claims about these other payments, supposedly made with personal money, intrigued me. Truth, timing would be crucial. More things to check, I imagine. Her brother, Brandon, 31, messaged me on a professional network. Justin, man, what's your problem? Nicole is a mess. Mom and Dad are worried. Give the money back. Be the bigger man. It's just money. It's just money? Easy to say for someone who didn't have $30,000 evaporate during a break. The bigger man doesn't lie or cancel weddings in secret. Saturday night, I looked at an old photo. We were happy. I felt like an idiot, a flash of regret. But then I remembered, not good enough, and the calm returned. This isn't about emotion, it's about facts. She made choices, now she faces the price of them. Her break is permanent and expensive. Update 2. A few weeks later, the temperature rose. Not because of me. I remain neutral, total Switzerland, calm, cold, collecting receipts. Nicole, Stephen, Angela, and Brandon, acting like attack dogs, doubled down. It's almost impressive. Dirty tricks, vague social media posts, Nicole with her cryptic texts, trust betrayed, picking up the pieces. Emily, her friend, commenting, he never valued you, annoying but in the end just hot air. Then the move for shared assets. Nicole sent a list of items she wants back for my apartment. Some gifts that came from her, fair, but then she started including my own items bought before Nicole. My sound system, paintings, art pieces, logic books. We used them together, she said. Yes, and that doesn't change ownership. She also demanded kitchen utensils, bridal shower gifts sent to my address by my relatives, clearly intending to keep them instead of returning them to the donors. Audacity is a talent, apparently. Then the financial fog. This is the best part. Now she claims she advanced thousands of dollars for various wedding things, dress fittings, minor vendor deposits, all out of her own pocket with the understanding she'd be reimbursed from the joint account. Upon analyzing, I saw she had even produced some invoices. The problem? I never agreed to reimburse personal expenses for the dress. Her dress was hers. My suit was mine. And those deposits she said she made, I found that some were dated after she canceled the main venue. So she canceled the wedding and kept spending money on what exactly? A ghost wedding? Or was she hoping I wouldn't discover the big cancellation? Now she demands I pay half the cancellation fees for vendors she hired and canceled herself, including the $10,000 non-refundable venue fee. She conveniently forgets that half of that amount, $5,000, was already my money. In other words, she wants me to pay another $5,000 so she doesn't take a loss and I'm left with a $10,000 hole. The math of the truly entitled is a special art of creative accounting. Her parents are on her side. Angela called my mother. My mother listened calmly and responded, "Angela, it seems Nicole made some decisions without consulting Justin and is now upset with the consequences. Justin is a grown man, and honestly, from what he told me, his actions seem perfectly reasonable." The conversation ended quickly. Point for Mom. Brandon continues leaving messages full of moralizing. "You're showing your true colors, Justin. This isn't how a man should act. You're leaving Nicole stranded over a misunderstanding." Oh sure, secretly canceling a wedding is now a misunderstanding? Okay, buddy. My response to all of this? Documentation. Every email, every transcribed voicemail, every text message before the break. My bank statements clearly showing the purchases I made for the wedding. I confirmed with the vendors I dealt with that no contracts were solely in my name. A quick talk with a lawyer. I showed the timeline, the joint account contract, simple, fortunately, stating the funds were for mutual wedding costs, with proof of my contribution and the confirmation of the cancellation made by Nicole. His opinion, "You're in the clear. The money you withdrew was provably yours, intended for a purpose she unilaterally voided. The subsequent expenses and cancellation fees are her problem." He added, "She's trying to bully you. Don't let her." Good advice. The expensive part for Nicole is already happening. She's stuck paying various non-refundable deposits made after canceling the main venue but before the break talk. I think she thought she could save something or pin the blame on me. The photographer, the fancy cake maker, the string quartet she absolutely needed for a non-existent ceremony. All these vendors want their cancellation fees and are charging her, not me. I wasn't aggressive. I didn't slander anyone. I just walked away, withdrew my support, withdrew my money. It's fascinating how we and ours turned into "you owe me" as soon as the free ride ended. My resolve is firm. She wanted a break, and she got a permanent and financially inconvenient one. The phrase, "not good enough," still hurts sometimes late at night, but then I look at the growing file of her insane demands and think, yes, I am good enough not to put up with this. Update 3. Well, almost Christmas, everyone, or if you're Nicole, probably the Hawthorns aren't having a very Merry Christmas. The last month was enlightening. Their sense of entitlement, that constant air of superiority, reached its peak, and then, finally, the music started to fade. For me, it has been a period of calm. Firm lines drawn in the sand. The dirty tricks continued for a while, but then lost steam. Nicole, through her father, Stephen himself, even sent a lawyer's letter full of pomp and empty threats. Misappropriation of marital funds. Marital? We were never married. Emotional damages, breach of promise to marry, that same wedding she canceled herself. The letter demanded I return the $25,000 I withdrew, plus an additional $15,000 to cover her losses with vendors and moral damages. Total, $40,000. Ridiculous. My lawyer, yes, I hired the same one I consulted before as a precaution, responded with a 2-page letter, extremely polite and factual. He attached a detailed timeline of events, copies of the venue cancellation confirmation with a date stamp prior to the break speech, bank statements showing my $30,000 deposit into the wedding account and my $25,000 withdrawal, leaving exactly her portion intact after the $10,000 non-refundable non-refundable deposit payment, split equally between us. He also included a gentle reminder that all contracts with other vendors were made by Nicole and that any cancellation fees were her responsibility, especially those made after the secret cancellation of the main venue. He ended with a firm statement: "There is no legal basis for the lady's claims. Any further attempt at harassment will result in a countersuit for harassment." We never heard from their lawyer again. I imagine even he realized you couldn't polish that disaster. Stephen Hawthorne probably wasn't very happy paying fees for a swing and a miss. The cryptic social media posts also died out. I think some friends, maybe even Emily, started putting the pieces together or just got tired of the drama. When the sad story doesn't bring in money, the audience loses interest. The final confrontation was pathetic but revealing. Nicole managed to catch me on the phone. I unblocked her for one day, moved by a strange curiosity. Mistake. Or maybe not. It was enlightening. "Justin, you ruined everything!" she screamed without introduction, going straight to the victim role. "I'm buried in debt. The vendors are chasing me. My parents are furious. This is all your fault." "My fault, Nicole?" I kept my voice steady. "Who canceled the wedding venue in secret?" "I was under pressure, my parents. I was confused. But you didn't have to be so vindictive, so cruel, taking all that money." "It was my money, Nicole. My share, for a wedding you decided wasn't going to happen. What did you expect me to do? Let you spend it on your single life?" "But the deposits, the commitments, a real man would have covered those for me, out of gallantry." Ah, there it was again, the gentleman card. "A real man," I said, "wouldn't have been deceived and manipulated. And your kind of gentleman, Nicole, sounds more like a doormat with a bank account, and I'm not that guy." She started crying, or making noises that sounded like crying. "You don't understand how much this cost me." "Oh, I understand, yes," I replied. "It cost exactly what your choices generated. It's called responsibility." Then I finished. "I hope you figure your life out, Nicole. Goodbye." And I hung up. Blocked again. This time, forever. The vigilante brother, Brandon, tried an ambush a week later. He saw me at a coffee shop I frequent. He came marching over, inflated with indignation. "Justin, we need to talk about what you did to my sister." I didn't take my eyes off my laptop. "There is nothing to discuss. Your sister made choices. She is living the consequences. I suggest you and your parents help fix the finances, since you all participated in the decisions." "She was your fiancée. You have a moral obligation," he exploded, raising his voice. People started looking. "No, Brandon, I don't," I replied calmly. "My only obligation was to a partnership, and she dissolved it without telling me. The only thing I did to your sister was refuse to pay for her mistakes." I packed my things and left. He looked ready to explode. I left him there, simmering in silence. What's left for Nicole? From what I hear, fragments of a now broken social circle, her fall was ugly. The thousands she claimed to have advanced for wedding details, turns out they were put on a credit card, hers, with heavy interest. The vendors she simply ignored after the cancellations, some were small businesses. They went after her as they should. Collections, lawsuits, fees. The pressure from her parents is intense, not in a supportive way, but out of shame and anger. Angela is mortified by the public failure. Stephen hates having wasted money. They are likely helping financially, but I guarantee every dollar comes with an "I told you so" or "How could you be so foolish?" Nicole's grand dream, the perfect wedding, funded in part by my savings and her parents' desire for status, imploded, and now she is left alone, holding all the shards of the illusions she tried to keep balancing even after she had already dropped the main one, the marriage. I received one last unexpected email from Emily, Nicole's best friend. "Justin, I know I was pretty horrible in some of my comments. I only heard Nicole's side, and she was very convincing. But I started seeing things differently. She's a wreck, and honestly, she's not taking much responsibility. I just wanted to say that now I understand. Sorry." I didn't reply, but it was something. The silent but effective revenge. The revenge wasn't loud, it wasn't explosive. It was just me calmly stepping out of the line of fire and letting the shrapnel from the grenade she threw hit the right target. She wanted a break. She thought I wasn't good enough. Fine. She ended up finding out that good enough, by her parents' standards, really cost a lot. When my contribution left the equation, it was expensive, very expensive. Final update. It's been almost 5 months since that last call with Nicole, and about 7 months since my world turned upside down. I thought I owed a final update to whoever followed this mess. Life goes on more quietly now. The anger has practically dissipated, replaced by a kind of tired pragmatism. I'm not happy about Nicole's financial difficulties, but I don't lose sleep over them either. She made that bed, now she's lying in it. From what I hear, the world is small even when you try to hide in it. Nicole is still dealing with the financial crater. She had to move back in with Steven and Angela for a while to save money. I imagine it's a special kind of hell for everyone involved. The dream wedding debt is still a touchy subject. She is working, but the vendor cancellations and perhaps some impulsive spending right after the breakup hit her hard. There's no news of her dating anyone new. I think her confidence and perhaps her parents' willingness to fund another social experiment took a heavy hit. Angela and Stephen Hawthorne, by all accounts, went back to being what they always were, lamenting their daughter's decisions and blaming subtly or not so subtly everyone but themselves for what happened. Brandon, from what I hear, still considers me a villain, but his opinion is worth less to me than the price of a coffee. And the $25,000 I withdrew from the joint account right at the start went directly back into my savings, where it always should have been. I kept the engagement ring. It's in a safe. Maybe one day I'll sell it. Or maybe it will stay there just as an expensive reminder. I still haven't decided. The phrase "not good enough" still echoes sometimes, usually when I'm tired or when a sad song plays on the radio. It's a scar, I think, but it served to make me rethink some things. It made me more cautious. Trust is something fragile, easy to break, hard to rebuild. I've gone on a few dates, nothing serious. I'm in no rush. There was no big legal confrontation or public exposure beyond what she caused herself. My revenge, I know I can call it that, was just holding her accountable for her own actions. I didn't sink to her level. I didn't step into the mud. I just laid out the facts, protected my assets, and walked away. Her arrogance, the lies, and the snobbery of her parents created a perfect storm, and all I did was refuse to be the sponsor of that storm. The most satisfying part is knowing I handled everything with a calm I didn't even know I had, that I didn't let them destroy me or manipulate me one more time. The moral justification was always clear. She lied, she deceived, she tried to make me pay for it, and I simply said no. So yes, life isn't a fairy tale. Sometimes the princess reveals herself to be more interested in the royal treasury than the prince, and sometimes the guy who wasn't good enough ends up being good enough to see through the deception and walk out with his dignity and his bank account intact. It's not a happy ending in the traditional sense. A 4-year relationship ended ugly, but it's a real ending, and I'm fine moving forward. And that in itself is a victory. Thanks for listening. Reddit comment. Ah, modern love. 4 years together, an expensive ring, $30,000, and a lesson in applied economics. Nicole wanted a prince with more status, but ended up with a crash course in financial responsibility. And Justin came out of the story with his savings intact, an MBA in emotional boundaries, and the serenity of someone who discovered that the true happy ending is having a positive balance and the drama blocked.